A man named Hatim was born in a tribe. He was so generous that stories of his generosity became famous all over the world. Whoever came to his door, he fulfilled his need. One day, around midnight, a few guests came to his house. Coincidentally, Hatim had nothing to invite his guests to at that time, and it was also very difficult to arrange for him at night. Hatim Tai slaughtered his favorite horse, and invited the guests, and set up a lodge to show hospitality. Once he invited the chieftains of Arabia. 40 camels were slaughtered that day. The invitation ended, the chieftains started talking among themselves. The conversation turned to Hatim Tai's generosity. A chieftain said, "A generous heart like Hatim has not been born to this day, and will never be born. Why not ask Hatim this question?" A chieftain said. So Hatim was asked if he had seen or heard of a harsher and nobler man than himself. Hatim kept thinking with his head bowed for a long time and then smiled and said, "Spending a lot of wealth is not generosity. According to me, a generous and noble man is one who does not accept even the smallest favor from anyone for his own greatest benefit. I have seen a person in my life whose heart was much bigger than mine. He must be the king of some country, who has a huge treasure." The chieftains said in unison, "No, friends. There is no such thing." Hatim Tai replied, "He was a woodcutter." All the chieftains looked at the host with surprise, so Hatim said, "One day I invited the entire city. After feeding the guests, I went out to the forest. There I saw an old man. He was carrying a heavy bundle of wood on his head, the weight of which was bending his back. His old torn clothes were soaked in sweat. I felt pity for him and decided to help him and said, 'I want to talk to you a few things.' Say this, and I stretched out my hands to remove the burden from his head, but he immediately backed away. Then he placed his burden on the ground and said, 'A person should carry his own burden. Riding on the shoulders of others only leads to the grave. But why are you working so hard at this age?' 'Then what should I do?' asked this proud woodcutter with a smile. 'Hatim Tai lives in your city. He feeds hundreds of people every day. Why don't you go to his door?' Hearing this, the woodcutter stared at me and said with great indifference, 'Hatim has 2 hands. God has also given me 2 hands. How shameful it is that I should eat the bread he earned. It is better for me to carry a bundle of lifeless wood on my head than to accept someone's kindness.' All the chiefs were surprised and started looking at Hatim, so Hatim said, 'That poor man had a bigger heart than me.